The deadly clashes, which broke out early on Saturday, are still in the forefront of events in Egypt. The unrest left dozens of supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi dead, as families of victims mourned and buried their loved ones. Egypt's Ministers of Defense and Interior appeared in a police graduation ceremony where the Interior Minister hailed General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi as Egypt's devoted son. The violence occurred following massive nationwide protests on Friday that were called for by the Minister of Defense. Sisi asked Egyptians to take to the streets against terrorism and to give him a mandate to tackle expected violence. While government and security officials said they do not intend to crack down on Islamic forces, many feared that it was an indication to the return of the police state.
What is happening now is unbelievable. It is simply the return of the previous corrupt regime, with all its repressive tools and methods. The Ministry of Interior is reviving its heavy-handed tactics against their fellow countrymen. This is intolerable.
The Ministry of Interior, on its side, rejected the narrative that police had opened fire on the protesters despite the fatalities, and the General Prosecutor ordered an investigation into the violence. Deputy Prime Minister Ziad Bahauddin said that excessive force should not be permitted, commenting on the deadly events, and Tamarud, or Rebel, the youth movement that helped propel the June 30th protest against Morsi, criticized the return of the Mubarak-era police practices. The U.S. and the European Union reacted to the ongoing turmoil in Egypt. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry called on the Egyptian interim government to respect the rights of peaceful protesters and called for new elections as quick as possible.
We saw it was the army which started stating, and taking the initiative, and they have decided to remove Mr. Morsi. So the problem here is with the legal status of the United States. They cannot breach the law, because the law refers to that they cannot provide any sort of assistance or aid to any country which, in case there is a coup d'etat.
The European Union Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton, who is currently visiting the country, expressed the EU concerns over the bloodshed happening in Egypt and called for it to end. Mediation attempts have failed so far as Morsi supporters insist for his reinstatement as president, but it is said that Ashton will be pushing for an EU-backed mediation plan to bring together all sides of the conflict to the negotiations table. For now, fragile calm has returned to the streets of Cairo following the deadly clashes, but as supporters of the ousted president continue with their sit-ins, many fear that the reoccurring of violence is only a matter of time. Karim Gamaluddin, Press TV, Cairo.